Hi friends, my name is Nandita. I am from Andhra Pradesh.
Good morning dear students. Today we are going to discuss about body fluids and circulation from chapter 15 CBSE syllabus class 11 biology. Children, you have learnt that all living cells have to be provided with nutrients, oxygen and other essential substance. Also the waste or harmful substance produced have to be removed continuously for health functioning of tissues. It is therefore essential to have efficient mechanism for the movement of this substance to the cells and from the cells. Different group of animals have evolved different methods for this transport. Simple organisms like sponges and coelenterate circulate water from their surroundings through their body cavities to facilitate the cells to exchange this substance. More complex organisms use special fluids within their bodies to transport such materials. Blood is the most commonly used body fluid by most of the higher organisms, including humans, for this purpose. Another body fluid is lymph, also helps in the transport of certain substance. In this chapter, you will learn about the composition and properties of blood, lymph tissue, circulation and pathways, double circulation, regulation of cardiac activity, disorders of circulatory system. Let us discuss each and every part and function of the human circulatory system. Body fluids are the mode of transport of supplements, oxygen and other significant substance in the body. They supply the cells with oxygen and nutrients and remove waste products which are then excreted in the urine. As body temperature rises, blood flow to the skin increases, allowing heat from the sweat to dissipate, thus maintaining a constant body temperature. There are several types of body fluids including blood, lymph, cerebrospinal fluid, interstitial fluid and various secretions. The most prominent among them is blood, which carries oxygen, nutrients, hormones and immune cells to different tissues and organs. Blood also transports waste products such as carbon dioxide and metabolic byproducts to the appropriate organs for elimination. Body fluids are then medium of transport of nutrients, oxygen and other important substances in the body. The blood is the most commonly used body fluid in the most of the higher organisms. Lymph also transports certain substances like proteins and fats. Mainly, our body has two types of fluids. Body fluid is any fluid found within an animals including blood, lymph, tissue fluid, urine, bile, etc. Blood circulation of body fluids are of two types: intracellular and extracellular circulation. Intracellular circulation occurs inside the cells through cytolysis, example unicellular organisms like paramecium, amoeba, etc. Extracellular circulation occurs outside the body cell, that is extracellular fluid that circulates in the body for transport of material. System which transport materials like nutrients, gases, hormones, etc. to the various parts of the body and remove waste material from the body cells is known as circulatory system. The circulatory system comprises two main components, that the cardiovascular system and the lymphatic system. The cardiovascular system consists of heart, blood vessels and blood. The heart pumps oxygenated blood from the lungs to the rest of the body and returns deoxygenated blood back to the lungs for oxygenation. Arteries carry oxygenated blood away from the heart while veins transport deoxygenated blood towards the heart. Children, now let us discuss about blood. Blood is one of the most important components of life. Almost any animal that possesses a circulatory system has blood. From an evolutionary perspective, blood was speculated to have risen from a type of cells that was responsible for phagocytosis and nutrition. Billions of years later, blood and the circulatory system have drastically helped the evolution of more complex life forms. Blood is a fluid connective tissue composed of a fluid network, plasma, and blood cells. It makes up about 30 to 35% of the extracellular fluid. It is slightly antacidic liquid with a pH of 7.4. The main components of blood are the elements of erythrocytes, leukocytes, and thrombocytes, and plasma, which includes water, proteins, and minerals. Plasma is a liquid component of blood which maintains a pH of 7.4. Human blood consists of a liquid plasma and a number of cellular and cell fragment components. The contents of plasma are about 60% of volume of blood. Cells and fragments are 40%. Plasma has 90% of water and 10% of dissolved materials including 6 to 8% of proteins, glucose, amino acids, and a limited amount of minerals like Na+, Ca2+, Cl, etc. Erythrocytes, leukocytes, and blood platelets form elements. Factors for clotting or coagulation of blood are also present actively in plasma. Plasma without the blood clotting factors is called serum. Let us see the percentage of plasma. In blood, plasma occupies about 58% of volume of blood, means volume of the blood is 5 liters. Let us see the lifespan of plasma. Short-lived plasma cells have a lifespan of 3 to 7 months, whereas long-lived plasma cells hold the life for 60 years. Role of plasma. The main function of plasma is to intake nutrition, hormones, and proteins to the other part of the body for providing energy. Let us discuss the performance. Plasma performs various functions in the blood. These are as follows. It helps in transport and uniform distribution of heart to all over the body. Plasma provides body immunity and it maintains the blood pH value and it provides prevention of blood loss. Fibrinogen helps in blood clotting. Globulin helps in defense mechanism. Albumin maintains osmotic balance. Children, let us discuss about red blood cells, which is also called RBC. Humans have a total number of 25 trillion red blood cells and they are continuously manufactured in the bone marrow of a long bones, ribs, skull and vertebrae. Red blood cells are also known as erythrocytes, have slightly indented and flattened disc shape. They transport oxygen to and from the lungs. RBC count. Mature erythrocytes lack a nucleus and they are small, sizing around 4 to 6 million cells per cubic millimeter of blood. In males 4.5 to 6.2 million and in female 4.0 to 5.2 million of blood cells are having about 200 million hemoglobin molecules per cell. The cells are about 7 μm in diameter that carry oxygen associated in the cell's hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein that contains iron and carries oxygen to its destination. Every 100 ml of blood contains 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the main protein inside red platelets, which are also called iron atoms. Each hemoglobin consists of 4 iron atoms, which binds the oxygen. Iron atoms from hemoglobin are recovered and reused by red marrow. The liver degrades the heme unit and secretes them as a pigment in the bile, responsible for the color of faeces. It conveys oxygen. Red platelets likewise eliminate carbon dioxide from our body, carrying it to the lungs for you to breathe out. Already we discussed that red platelets are made in the bone marrow. The number of RBC may vary depending upon the health factors of an individual and altitude where they live. A person who lives at 18,000 feet may have as many as 8.3 into 106 RBC per liter. If a fall in a number of RBC occurs, the condition is called anemia, whereas the increase in number is called polycythemia. The lifespan of the RBC and erythrocytes is only 120 days, after which they are destroyed in the liver. Children, now let us discuss about WBC, which is also called white blood cells. White blood cells are also known as lymphocytes. It is a type of blood cells that is made in the bone marrow and found in the blood and lymph tissue. They help the body fight infections and other diseases. They are larger than erythrocytes and have a nucleus and lack of hemoglobin. They function in the cellular immune response. They are nucleated and are generally short-lived. The number of WBC are relatively lesser in the number, about 6,000 to 8,000 mm of blood. WBC are made up with less than 1% of blood content, forming vital defense against disease and infection. Children, now let us see the size of WBC. WBC has an irregular shape and its size varies from 12 to 17 nanometers. The number of WBC counts in the microfiber of blood usually ranges from 3,700 to 10,500. The lifespan of an WBC is only 12 to 20 days, after which they are destroyed in the lymphatic system. Immunity. Lymphocytes fight infection, whereas T cells attack cells containing virus and B cells produce antibodies. There are two types of leukocytes, which are also called granulocytes and agranulocytes. These are known to be most active and motile constituent of blood as well as lymph. They do not possess the red color pigment hemoglobin in them, so they are colorless in nature. Both are classified according to the presence or absence of granules in the white blood cells. Children, let us discuss about granulocytes. Granulocytes are the well-known type of white blood platelets. They contain chemical granules. The moment the contamination or aggravation enters the body, granulocytes rush to the area and release their granules to fight the disease. Granulocytes are sometimes referred as granular leukocytes, polymorphonuclear leukocytes, or PMNS. There are three specific types of granulocytes. They are neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils. Eosinophils. They are the cells of leukocytes which are present in the immune system. These cells are responsible for combating infections in parasites of vertebrates and for controlling mechanism associated with allergy and asthma. Eosinophil cells are small granulocytes which are produced in the bone marrow and makes 2 to 3% of whole WBC. These cells are present in high concentration in the digestive tract. Basophils. They are the least common of granulocytes, ranging from 0.5 to 1% of WBC. They contain large cytoplasmic granules which play a vital role in mounting an non-specific immune response to pathogens and allergic reactions by releasing histamine and dilating the blood vessels. These white blood cells have the ability to be stained when exposed to basic dyes, hence referred to as basophil. The cells are the best known for their role in asthma, and they result in inflammation and bronchoconstriction in the airways. They secrete serotonin, histamine, and heparin. Neutrophils. These are normally found in bloodstream. They are predominant cells which are present in pus. Around 60 to 65% of WBC are neutrophils with the diameter of 10 to 12 micrometers. The nucleus in is 2 to 5 lobed and the cytoplasm has very fine granules. Neutrophil helps in the destruction of bacteria with lysosomes and it acts as strong oxidant. Neutrophils are stained only using neutral dyes, hence they are called so. Neutrophils are also the first cells of the immune system to respond to an invader such as bacteria or virus. The lifespan of WBC extends or up to the 8 hours and it is produced every day in the bone marrow. Children, let us discuss the functions of granulocytes. Granulocytes cooperate to free your collection of contamination or allergens. Each sort of granulocyte has its own mix of synthetics and proteins in its granules. Therefore, each type has an alternate capacity. Now, let us discuss about agranulocyte. Those that do not have granules inside them are known as agranulocyte. Monocytes and neutrophils are phagocytic cells that destroy foreign organisms. Monocytes. These cells are usually have a large bilobed nucleus with a diameter of 12 to 20 micrometers. The nucleus is generally half moon shaped or kidney shaped and it occupies 6 to 8% of WBC. They are the garbage trucks of the immune system. The most important function of the monocytes are to migrate into tissues and clean up the dead cells and protect against blood-borne pathogens and move very quickly to the sites of infection in the tissues. These white blood cells have a single bean-shaped nucleus, hence referred as monocytes. Lymphocytes. These lymphocytes play a vital role in the production of antibodies. Their size ranges from 8 to 10 micrometers. They are commonly known as natural killer cells. They play an important role in the defense. These white blood cells are colorless cells formed in the lymphoid tissue, hence referred as lymphocytes. There are two main functions of lymphocytes, that is B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. These cells are very important in the immune system and are responsible for humoral and cell mediated immunity. Let us discuss the functions of agranulocytes. The capacity of agranulocytes is like that a granulocyte in that they intercede immunological reactions to unfamiliar microbes, harmful and cancer cells and eliminate dead cells from the body. They do this by delivering antibodies and straightforwardly appending them to the cells as opposed to delivering granules. Children, now let us discuss about blood platelets. Platelets are made in bone marrow along with your WBC and RBC. One of the remarkable properties of blood is its ability to clot or coagulate. When it is withdrawn from the body, clot occurs as a response to tissue injury such as muscle tear, a cut or sharp blow. Platelets are tiny blood cells that help your body form clots to stop bleeding. Platelets, also known as thrombocytes, are small colorless disc-shaped cell fragments that circulate in the blood. Lifespan of the platelets survive for 10 days, being removed by the liver and spleen. Platelets count are 15,000 to 350,000 platelets in each milliliter of blood. A reduction in their number can lead to clotting disorders, which will lead to excessive blood loss from the body. The lifespan of platelets is only about 7 to 12 days. The formation of thrombocytes is called thrombopoiesis. Children, now let us discuss the functions of blood platelets. The main functions in the body is to release a variety of substances, most of which are involved in coagulation or clotting of blood. They play a crucial role in hemostasis, the process of stopping bleeding and forming blood clots to repair damaged vessels. The importance of platelets is to stick and adhere to tear in blood vessels. They are also releasing clotting factors. A hemophiliac blood cannot clot. Providing correct proteins has been a common method of tearing hemophiliacs. It has also led to HIV transmission due to the use of transfusion and use of contaminated blood products. Let us see the risk of blood platelets. The body faces serious issues when the platelets count fall less than 50,000. A low platelets count shall be called thrombocytopenia. Children, now let us discuss about blood groups. Children, already we discussed that blood is a fluid connective tissue and the most crucial component of the circulatory system. In a healthy person, approximately 5 liters of blood circulate throughout their body. Composition of blood is rather interesting. It consists of erythrocytes, leukocytes, platelets suspended in plasma along with the millions of different molecules with its own specific roles and functions as we discussed earlier. Even though components of blood are the same for all humans, there are various blood types. In fact, there are more than 40 blood groups, but all of them are not clinically significant. The discovery of ABO blood group created great excitement, and until then, all blood had been assumed to be the same. Children, now let us discuss about blood group system. Carl Landsteiner, an Australian scientist, discovered the ABO blood group system in the year 1900. In his experiments, he mixed different blood types and noted that the plasma formed certain blood type produced agglutinates and or formed clusters which were caused by the absence of molecules on red blood cells and resulting in antibodies to defeat that molecule. He then made a note of the agglutination and divided the blood types into 4 different groups. For his the discovery of ABO blood group, he has awarded the Nobel Prize. Blood group system is pivotal in blood transfusion. Our immune system recognizes another blood type as foreign and attacks it is introduced in the body, causing a transfusion reaction. Any inappropriate match with the RH and ABO blood types causes the most serious and life-threatening transfusion reactions. Therefore, before blood transfusion, it is suggested to have a blood group check. Children, now let us discuss what are ABO and RH blood groups. During the blood transfusion, the 2 most important group systems examined and are the ABO system and rhesus system. The ABO blood group system consists of 4 types of blood group A, B, AB and O, and is mainly based on the antigens and antibodies on the red blood cells and in the plasma. Both antigens and antibodies are protein molecules in which antigens are present on the surface of red blood cells and antibodies are present in the plasma, which is involved in defending mechanism. On the other hand, the RH blood group system consists of 50 defined blood groups antigens. In the RH system, the most important antigens are D, C, E and A. The ABO and RH blood systems are discussed in detail below. The basis of ABO grouping is to 2 antigens, antigen A and antigen B. The ABO grouping system is classified into 4 types as we discussed earlier on the presence or absence of antigens on the red blood cell surface and plasma antibodies. Children, let us discuss about blood group A. People with blood group A have A antigens on the surface of their red blood cells and produced antibodies against group B antigens in their plasma. They can receive blood from individuals with blood group A and O and can donate blood to individuals with blood groups A and AB. Now let us discuss about blood group B. Individuals with blood group B have B antigens on the surface of their red blood cells and produced antibodies against group A antigens in their plasma. They can receive blood from the individual with blood group B and O, and they can donate blood to individuals with blood groups B and AB. Let us discuss about blood group AB. People with the blood type AB have both A and B antigens on the surface of their red blood cells but do not produce antibodies against either A or B antigens in their plasma. They can receive blood from individuals with all types of bloods like A, B, AB and O, making them universal recipients. However, they can only donate blood to individuals with blood group AB. Blood group O. Individuals with blood group O have neither A nor B antigens on the surface of their red blood cells but produced antibodies against both A and B antigens in the plasma. They are considered universal donor because their blood can be given to individuals with any blood type like A, B, AB blood group and O. However, people with blood group O can only receive blood from individuals with the blood type of O. Children, now let us look into this chart like blood type and receive blood and donate blood. Children, the individuals, those who are having A positive blood group, can receive blood from A positive, A negative, O positive and O negative, and they can donate their blood to A positive and AB positive people only. And the blood group B positive people, they can receive blood from B positive, B negative, O positive and O negative, and they can donate their blood to only B positive and AB positive people. Blood group AB positive, they can receive blood from all types of blood groups and they can donate their blood only to AB positive people. Blood group O positive. Blood group O positive people can receive blood from O positive and O negative and they can donate blood to O positive, A positive, B positive and AB positive. Blood group A individuals. Group A individuals can receive blood only from A negative and O negative and they can donate their blood to A positive, A negative, B positive, AB positive and AB negative. Blood group O negative. O negative can receive blood from only O negative people and they can donate their blood to all types of blood groups. B negative. B negative individuals can receive blood from B negative and O negative and they can donate their blood to B positive, B negative, AB positive and AB negative. AB negative. AB negative people receive blood from AB negative, A negative, B negative and O negative and they can donate blood to AB positive and AB negative people. People with the O blood groups are called universal donor because they can give blood to anyone, and any people with AB blood group are called universal recipients as they can receive blood from any other group. Children, now let us discuss about RH grouping. A part of the antigens discussed in the previous section, another antigen known as RH antigen, similarly to the 1% in rhesus monkey, is also found on the WBC surface in majority of the humans, nearly about 80%. Individuals having RH antigen are called RH positive and those without RH antigen are called RH negative. RH group is mandatory to be matched before transfusion of blood. An RH minus person, if gets exposed to RH positive blood, will form specific antibodies against the RH antigens.
RH incompatibility during pregnancy. A specific case of mismatching of RH group or RH incompatibility has been observed between the RH negative blood group of a pregnant mother with RH positive blood of a fetus, means born out of a marriage between RH negative woman and a RH positive man. In such a case, mother becomes sensitive while carrying a positive baby in their womb. The reason is that some of the RBC from the developing fetus enters into the bloodstream of the mother during development. This causes the development of anti-RH antibodies. The RH antigens of the fetus do not get exposed to RH negative blood of the mother in case of the first pregnancy because two blood remains separate by the placenta. However, during delivery of the first child, there occurs a possibility that maternal blood may get exposed to small amount of RH positive blood from the fetus. Hence, preparing antibodies against RH antigens in her blood, those in case of her subsequent pregnancies, RH positive fetus get exposed to the anti-RH antibodies. This will leak into the blood of the fetus RH positive and destroy the fetal RBC. This could be fatal to the fetus or could cause severe anemia and jaundice to the body. This is known as erythroblastosis fetalis. In humans, during transfusion of blood, the blood of a donor has been carefully matched to the blood of a recipient before transfusing so as to avoid the problem of clumping, means destruction of RBC. A person with blood group of O can donate blood to the person with any other blood groups. Hence, already we discussed here, this condition can be avoided by administering anti-RH bodies to the mother immediately after the delivery of the first child. RH factors was discovered by Landsteiner and Weiner in 1940 after immunizing the rabbits with the blood of a monkey. There are about 30 or so known antigens on the surface of red blood cells that gives rise to different groups, example M and etc. Children, now let us discuss about coagulation of blood or clotting of blood. When an injury is caused, then wound does not continue to bleed for a long time and the blood usually stops flowing after some time. It is the natural property exhibited by blood to check the excessive loss of blood from an injury. Clotting of blood is a complex process that involves various steps of its completion. Let us discuss about natural anticoagulants. Normally, inside an intact blood vessel, the blood does not coagulate because the presence of an inactive anticoagulants, that is heparin and antiprothrombins. Apart from this, procoagulants are also present in the blood but in their inactive forms. Now let us discuss about formation of a clot. An injury or trauma causes stimulation of platelets in the blood to release certain platelet factors, which in turn activates the mechanism of coagulation or clotting. Thromboplastin, a lipoprotein, helps in clot formation. It occurs in the 3 steps. Now let us discuss about thromboplastin. Thromboplastin helps in the formation of an enzyme prothrombinase, which inactivates heparin that converts the inactive plasma protein, that is prothrombin, into its active form thrombin. Thrombin thus act as proteolytic enzyme to convert fibrinogen molecules to form insoluble fibrin monomer. This reaction required thrombokinesis, an enzyme complex which is formed by a series of linked enzymatic reactions which involves a number of various factors present in the plasma in their inactive state. Both the changes mentioned above require Ca2 plus ions for their reaction. This fibrin monomer polymerizes two long sticky fibers. The fibrin threads form a fine network of threads called fibrins, in which dead and damaged formed elements of blood are trapped. This finally leads to the formation of a clot or coagulum, which is in dark reddish brown scum formed over the surface of injury. Certain factors released by tissue also helps in initiating coagulation at the time of injury. Children, as already we discussed that blood is a fluid connective tissue composed of 50% of plasma and 45% formed elements including WBC, RBC and platelets. Since these living cells are suspended in plasma, blood is known as fluid connective tissue and not just fluid. Providing oxygen to the cells. Blood absorbs oxygen from the lungs and transports it to different cells of the body. The waste carbon dioxide moves from the blood to the lungs and is exhaled. The another main function is, as we discussed earlier, the transport of hormones and nutrients. The digested nutrients such as glucose, vitamins, minerals and proteins are absorbed into blood through the capillaries in the villi lining the small intestine. The hormones secreted by the endocrine glands are also transported by the blood to different organs and tissues. The hemostated blood helps to maintain the internal body temperature by absorbing or releasing heat. Transport of waste to the kidney and liver. Blood enters the kidney where it is filtered to remove nitrogenous waste out the blood plasma. The toxins from the body are also removed by the liver. Children, now let us discuss about lymph or tissue fluid. It is another fluid connective tissue that floats inside specialized vessels known as lymph vessels. It is colorless fluid containing high concentration of WBC. The overall composition of lymph is similar to blood with the exception of absence of RBC, platelets and some plasma proteins, and in having less Ca and P than blood. It also contains all the ions present in the blood plasma. Children, now let us discuss about lymphatic system. It is an elaborate network of vessels which collects the interstitial fluids along with some protein molecules, drains it back into the major veins. The lymphatic vessels are present in all the tissues except the central nervous system and cornea. Let us see the formation of lymph. As the blood passes through the capillaries of the arterial system into the tissues, some water along with many water soluble substance come out in the space between the cells of tissues. But a very small amount of proteins come out from the capillaries with the plasma, leaving the large proteins and most of the formed elements in the blood vessels. The fluid released out is called interstitial fluid or extracellular fluid. After entering the lymph vessels, the CF becomes lymph. Children, now let us discuss the functions of lymphatic or lymph fluid. The lymph performs the following important functions. It acts as an important carrier of nutrients, hormones, etc. And it absorbs of fat also occurs through lymph in the lacteal present in the intestinal villi. Lymph also helps in renewal of ECF. The maturation of lymphocytes, that is B cells and T cells, occur with the help of lymph nodes releasing them into lymph. It helps in keeping tissue cells moist. The lymph first reaches the lymph nodes like thymus, tonsils, prayers, patches, spleen, etc. in the body. Children, now let us discuss about circulatory pathways. It is already clear by the previous topic that blood and lymph are the important fluids in the body that acts as a carrier in transporting nutrients, hormones, etc. Now the question arises, what makes this blood to circulate? So the answer to this question lies in the fact that to circulate this blood throughout the body, a pump is required which is known as heart. Study of circulatory system is called angiology. The father of angiology is William Harvey. The whole circulatory system is originated from mesoderm, but the inner layer of the heart wall, endocardium, and the inner layer of blood walls, endothelium, is endothermal in origin. The types of circulatory system are two. One is open and second one is closed circulatory system. Depending upon the circulatory patterns in higher organism, the circulatory systems are of the following. Let us discuss in detail about open circulatory system. It is the type of circulatory system in which blood pumped by the heart is passed through a vessel into the space or body cavities known as sinuses. From there, the blood is collected by a large veins which opens into the heart. In this type of system, the blood does not contain the respiratory pigment and if present, it dissolved in plasma. This type of system is found in arthropods and molluscs. There is no capillary system found in this type of circulatory system. Closed circulatory system. In this type of circulatory system, the blood pumped by the heart is always circulated inside the vessels. From evolutionary point of view, this pattern is considered to be the most advantageous as it supplies blood to the deepest tissues of the body and it is found in annelids and chordates. Heart. All vertebrates possess a muscular chambered heart. Depending on the different types of circulation in them, heart is of following three types. Two-chambered heart. This is found in fishes mostly. It comprises of an atrium and a ventricle. During circulation of blood, the heart pumps off deoxygenated blood. This blood gets oxygenated by the gills and is then supplied to the body parts from where the deoxygenated blood is returned to the heart. Hence, the type of circulation is called single circulation. Three-chambered heart. Amphibians and reptiles have a three-chambered heart. This type of heart comprises of two atria and a single ventricle. During the circulation of blood, the left atrium receives the oxygenated blood from the gills, lungs, gill, and the right atrium receives the deoxygenated blood from the other body parts. The blood gets mixed up in a single ventricle which further pumps out to the mixed blood. This type of circulation is called incomplete double circulation. Examples of three-chambered heart organisms are reptiles and amphibians like frogs and lizards. Four-chambered heart. Crocodiles, birds and mammals possess this type of heart. It comprises of two atria and two ventricles. During the course of circulation, the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood is received by the left and right atria respectively. The blood from each atria passes onto the ventricles of the same sides, that is left and right ventricles, unlike three-chambered heart in which the bipod through the ventricles is pumped out without any mixing. Hence, this type of circulation is called double circulation. Children, let us discuss about human circulatory system. The human body is a complex machine, requires many pulses to function efficiently. To keep their crucial process running without any hitches, vital elements and components need to be delivered to the various parts of the body. This role of transportation is undertaken by the human circulatory system, moving essential nutrients and minerals throughout the body and metabolic waste products away from the body. The human circulatory system consists of a network of arteries, veins, and capillaries with the heart pumping blood through it. Its primary role is to provide essential nutrients, minerals, and hormones to various parts of the body. Alternatively, the circulatory system is also responsible for collecting metabolic waste and toxins from the cells and tissues to be purified or expelled out from the body. Children, let us discuss the features of circulatory system. The crucial features of human circulatory system are as follows. The human circulatory system consists of blood, heart, blood vessels, and lymph. The human circulatory system circulates through blood in two lobes, that is double circulation, one for oxygenated blood and another for deoxygenated blood. The human heart consists of four chambers, two ventricles and two auricles. The human circulatory system possesses a body-wide network of blood vessels. These comprise arteries, veins, and capillaries as we discussed earlier. The primary function of the blood vessels is to transport oxygenated blood and nutrients to all parts of the body. It is also tasked with collecting metabolic waste to be expelled out from the body. Most circulatory system diagrams do not visually represent its shear length. Theoretically, if the veins and arteries and capillaries of human were laid out end to end would pan to a total distance 1 lakh kilometers or roughly 8 times the diameter of the earth. Now let us discuss the major organ of human circulatory system, which is also called human heart. The human heart is one of the most important organs responsible for sustaining life. It is a muscular organ with four chambers. The size of human heart is the size of about clenched fist. The human heart functions throughout a person's lifespan and is one of the most robust and hardest working muscles in the human body. Besides humans, most other animals also possess a heart that pumps blood throughout their bodies. Even invertebrates such as grasshoppers possess a heart-like pumping organ, though they do not function as the same way a human heart does. Let us see the position and appearance of human heart. Heart is mesodermally derived organ situated in the thoracic cavity in between the two lungs. It appears to be slightly tilted towards the left side. It is a hollow fibromuscular organ slightly conical in shape, about 12 cm length and 9 cm breadth. The upper broad part is called the base and the lower narrow part is known as apex. It has a size of clenched fist. Now let us see the protecting and covering of human heart. The heart is protected by a double-walled membranous sac or a bag called pericardium, enclosing a pericardial fluid. This pericardial fluid helps in keeping the surface of the heart moist so as to protect it from shock and mechanical injuries and also allows its free movement. The structure of human heart can be studied under two heads of easy understanding, that is external and internal structure. Children, let us discuss the functions of human heart. The function of human heart in any organism is to maintain a constant flow of blood throughout the body. This replenishes oxygen and circulates nutrients among the cells and tissues. The following are the main functions of the heart. One of the primary functions of the heart is to pump blood through the body. Blood delivers oxygen, hormones, glucose and other components to various parts of the body, including the human heart. The heart also ensures that adequate blood pressure is maintained in the body. There are two types of circulation within the body, namely pulmonary circulation and systematic circulation. Children, let us discuss the types of circulation. Pulmonary circulation is a portion of circulation responsible for carrying deoxygenated blood away from the heart to the lungs and then bringing oxygenated blood back to the heart. Systematic circulation is another portion of circulation where the oxygenated blood is pumped from the heart to every organ and tissue in the body, and deoxygenated blood comes back again to the heart. Now, the heart itself is a muscle and therefore it needs a constant supply of oxygenated blood. This is where another type of circulation come into the play, the coronary circulation. The coronary circulation is an essential portion of the circulation where oxygenated blood is supplied to the heart. This is important as the heart is responsible for supplying blood throughout the body. Moreover, organs like brain needs a steady flow of fresh oxygenated blood to ensure functionality. In a nutshell, the circulatory system plays a vital role in supplying oxygen and nutrients and removing carbon dioxide and other waste from the body. Let us gain a deeper insight into the various anatomical structures of the heart. Structure of heart. The human heart is sized about the human fist and it is divided into 4 chambers, namely 2 ventricles and 2 atria. The ventricles are chamber that pump blood and the atrium are the chamber that receives blood. Among these both the right atrium and the ventricles made up of right heart and the left atrium and ventricles make up the left heart. The structure of the heart also houses the biggest artery in the body, that aorta. The right and left region of the heart are separated by a walls of muscles called the septum. The right ventricle pumps the blood to the lungs for reoxygenation through the pulmonary arteries. The right semilunar valves close the prevention the blood from flowing back into the heart. Then the oxygenated blood is received by the left atrium from the lungs via pulmonary veins. Pericardium. The human heart is situated to left of the chest and it is enclosed with a fluid-filled cavity described as the pericardial activity. The walls and lining of the pericardial activities are made up of a membrane known as pericardium. This pericardium is a fiber membrane found as an external covering around the heart. It protects the heart by producing a serous fluid which serves to lubricate the heart and prevent frictions between the surrounding organs. Apart from the lubrication, the pericardium also helps by holding the heart in its position and by maintaining a hollow space for the heart to expand itself when it is full. This pericardium has 2 exclusive layers. One is visceral layer, it directly covers the outer side of the heart. Second one is peritoneal layer. It forms a sac around the outer region of the heart that contains the fluid in the pericardial cavity. Children, now let us discuss the structure of a heart wall. The heart wall is made up of 3 layers, namely which is called epicardium, myocardium and endocardium. Epicardium. Epicardium is the outermost layer of the heart. It is composed of a thin layered membrane that serves to lubricate and protect the outer section. Myocardium. This is a layer of muscle tissue and it constitutes the middle layer wall of the heart. It contributes to thickness and it is responsible for pumping action. Endocardium. It is innermost layer of lines that inner heart chambers and covers the heart valves. Furthermore, it prevents the blood from sticking to the inner walls, thereby preventing potential fatal blood clots. Children, now let us discuss about internal structure of heart. The internal structure of heart is rather intricate with several chambers and valves that controls the flow of blood. Let us discuss about the chambers of the heart. Vertebrate hearts can be classified based on the number of chambers present, as we discussed earlier. For instance, fishes, as we discussed earlier, they have 2 chambers, and reptiles and amphibians have 3 chambers, and mammalians' heart consists of 4 chambers. Humans are mammalians, hence we have 4 chamber hearts, namely left atrium, right ventricle and right ventricle. Atria. Atria are a thin and have less muscular walls and are smaller than ventricles. These are the blood receiving chambers that they are fed by large veins. Ventricles are large and more muscular chambers responsible for pumping and pushing blood out into circulation. These are connected to a large arteries that deliver blood for circulation. The right ventricles and right atrium are comparatively smaller than left chambers. The walls consist of femoral muscles compared to the left portion, and the size difference is based on their functions. As ventricles' major function is pumping of blood, due to this they need stiff muscle walls. Right ventricle receives impure blood from the right atrium and pumps to pulmonary artery, which further takes this blood to the lungs for purification. Left ventricle, it receives pure oxygenated blood from left atrium and pumps it to pure blood to aorta artery in the pathway, which in turn takes this blood to whole body and organs. Valves. Valves are flaps of fibrous tissues located in the cardiac chambers between the veins. They ensure that the blood flow in a single direction. Flaps are also prevent the blood from the flowing back. Based on their function, valves are of two types. Cardiac valves. A part of septum, heart is also separated by various valves. These valves act as a door-like structure in the heart that serves to maintain the unidirectional flow of blood. Different valves present in the heart are given below. Tricuspid valve, it is formed the three muscular flaps or cups to guard the opening between the right atrium and right ventricle. Bicuspid valve, it is a type of valve that guard the opening between the left atrium and the left ventricle. Semilunar valve, that opens to the right and left ventricles into the pulmonary artery and the aorta respectively, are provided within a semilunar valves. Let us discuss the functions of cardiac valves. The valves in the heart allows the flow of blood only in one direction, that is from the atria to ventricles and from the ventricles to pulmonary artery or aorta, but also backward flow of blood. Conducting system of heart. The entire heart is made up of cardiac muscle. Ventricular walls are thicker than that of the atrial walls. The rhythmic of heart is maintained by highly specialized cardiac musculature called the nodal tissue distributed in the heart. Let us discuss about the sinoatrial node or SA node or SAN. The SA node is smaller fattened patch of a tissue present in the right upper corner of the right atrium. The impulse generated by node spreads in all directions of the heart. Now let us discuss about atrioventricular node or AV node AVN. The signals from weak then they reach ventricles because ventricles are far away from SA node. Thus, to strengthen these signals, another mass of tissue is seen in the lower left corner of the right atrium close to the atrioventricular septum, known as AV node. This is also known as pace setter. AV node is used to receive the impulse from the SA node through the internodal pathway. Now let us discuss about bundle of His. A bundle of nodal fibers, that is atrioventricular bundles, AV bundles, continues from the AV node which passes through the atrioventricular septa to merge Y on the top of the interventricular septum, immediately dividing into a right and left bundle. This bundle gives rise to a network of minute fibers. These fibers along with the right and left bundles are called bundles of His. It generates impulse of beating. Normally it does not generate impulse but strengthen them. The Purkinje fibers supplies impulses to all portions of ventricular walls. Children, let us discuss about the working of nodal tissue. The nodal musculature possesses the ability of generation action potentials without any external it is auto excitable. However, the nodal system generates different number of action potential at different parts in a minute. The SAN can generate the maximum number of action potential, that is 70 to 75 per minute. It also responsible for the initiation and maintenance of the rhythmic contractical activity of the heart. Therefore, the SAN is also called pacemaker. Our heart normally beats 70 to 75 times in a minute. Children, now let us discuss about blood vessels. In organisms which closed circulatory system, the blood flows within the vessels of varying size. Vertebrates, including humans, possess this type of circulation. The external structure of the heart has many blood vessels that form a network with the major vessels emerging from within the structure. The blood vessels typically comprises the following. First one is arteries. Arteries. These blood vessels carry blood from the heart to different body parts. All arteries carries pure or oxygenated blood, within the exception of pulmonary artery that carries the impure or deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs for purification. As the walls of arteries are thick and non-collapsible, the pressure inside them is very high. Arteries are much deep placed in the body. Features of the arteries. Valves are absent in arteries. Arteries are divided into 5 branches known as arterioles, which are further divided into finer branches called capillaries. Veins. There is another type of blood vessels that brings blood from the different parts of the body to heart, that is carry blood towards the heart. All veins are meant to carry impure blood except the pulmonary vein that carries pure blood, that is from lung to the heart. Veins are provided with valves to prevent backflow of the blood. Capillaries. Capillaries are very thin blood vessels, so small that a single red blood cells can bravely fit through them. They help to connect your arteries and veins in addition to facilitating that exchange of certain elements between your blood and tissues. This is why blood tissues that are very active, such as your muscles, liver and kidneys, have an abundance of capillaries. Less metabolically active tissues, such as certain types of connective tissue, does not have many. Let us discuss some of the facts of human heart. The heart pumps around 6,000 to 7,500 liters of blood in a day throughout the body. The heart is situated at the center of the chest and points slightly towards the left. On average, the heart beats about 1 lakh times a day, that is around 3 billion beats in a lifetime. The average male heart weighs around 280 to 340 grams, that is 10 to 12 ounces. In a female, it weighs about 220 to 280 grams. An adult heart beats about 60 to 100 times per minute. A newborn baby heart beats faster pace than an adult, which is about 90 to 190 beats per minute. Children, now let us discuss about cardiac cycle. Children, let us see how does the heart function. The heart pumps the blood to all parts of the body. The changes that takes place in heart during one heartbeat together constitute cardiac cycle. The heart beats at an average rate of about 72 times per minute. The total duration of cardiac cycle is 0.8 seconds. During a heartbeat, the contraction and relaxation of atria and ventricles takes place. The phase of contraction is known as systole, while the relaxation phase is called as diastole. Thus, a single heartbeat consists of a systole and diastole of both the atria and ventricles. To begin with a cardiac cycle, all of 4 chambers of heart are in a relaxed state, that is, they are in the joint diastole, during which the blood flows from the superior and the inferior vena cava into the atria and from to the respective ventricles through auriculoventricular valves. The complete cardiac cycle is composed of following events that takes place in a sequential manner. Atrial systole. A wave of contraction occurs from anterior to posterior side stimulated by the SA node. The blood flows from the pulmonary veins and vena cava into the left and right ventricles respectively as the tricuspid and bicuspid valves are open. During this time, the blood does not return to the great veins as blood is already present in them. The semilunar valves are closed. The atrial systole increases the flow of blood into the ventricles by about 30%, means 70% filling of ventricles occurs passively during relaxation of ventricles before the atrial contraction. At the end of the atrial systole, there start relaxation of the atria and contraction of the ventricles simultaneously. The atrial systole occurs for 0.1 seconds while the atrial diastole on the other hand is of about 0.7 seconds. Children, now let us discuss about ventricular systole. This step involves the simultaneously relaxation of atria and contraction of ventricles. As the contraction of ventricles begins, the pressure of blood rises in them almost immediately. This rapidly closes the atrioventricular valves in order to prevent the backflow of blood from ventricles to atria. The conduction of action potential to the ventricular side occurs by the AV node and AV bundles, from where the bundle of His transmits it through the entire ventricular musculature. The contraction of ventricles thereby increases the ventricular pressure, causing the closure of the tricuspid and bicuspid valve due to the attempt back flow of blood into the atria. Finally, due to this, the increase in the pressure occurs in a great arteries. So, semilunar valves guarding the pulmonary artery and the aorta are forced open and blood enters through great arteries into ventricles. When ventricles relax, the ventricular pressure falls, which causes the closure of semilunar valves, preventing the backflow of blood into the ventricles. A further decline in the ventricular pressure pushes open the tricuspid and bicuspid valves by the pressure in the atria excreted by the blood which was being emptied into them by the veins. This allows the blood to move freely to the ventricles once again. The ventricles and the atria are now again in a relaxed state as earlier. Soon the SAN generates a new action potential and the events described above sequentially repeated to continue the process. Children, now let us discuss about heart rate and cardiac output. Children, just we have studied that our heart beats for about 72 times per minute. This concludes that in a single minute many cardiac cycles are performed. Thus, reduction that duration of each cardiac cycle is 0.8 seconds. During each cardiac cycle, each ventricular pumps out about 70 ml of blood known as stroke volume. The volume of blood pumped out by each ventricle in 1 minute is called cardiac output. We know that in 1 minute heart beats for 72 times, thus cardiac output will be 5000 ml or approximately. Thus cardiac output will be 5000 milliliters approximately, 5 liters in a normal individual. Thus cardiac output is equal to stroke volume into number of beats per minute. This is to be noted that the body has the ability to alter stroke volume as well as the heart rate and thereby the cardiac output. For example, an athlete has much higher cardiac output than a normal man. Heart sounds. During each cardiac cycle, two prominent sounds are produced which can be easily heard by a stethoscope. This allows to hear sound and also pulse of an individual. The basic reason of the production of these sounds is closure of various valves. The sound cardiac produced during each heartbeat are as follows. Lub, it is the first sound being produced when auriculoventricular valves, means tricuspid and bicuspid valves, are closed. This marks the end of the atrial systole and beginning of ventricular systoles. The sound dub is found being produced when semilunar valves of aorta and pulmonary artery are get closed. This marks the end of ventricular systole. Children, now let us discuss about electrocardiograph, ECG. Electrocardiograph ECG represents of a electrical activity of the heart during a single cardiac cycle. The electrocardiogram is obtained by a machine known as electrocardiograph. The study or the process of recording of electrocardiogram is called electrocardiography. Beethoven in the year of 1903 is known as the father of electrocardiography. The impulse generated by the SA node causes contraction and relaxation of the heart chambers. To obtain an ECG, a patient is connected to the machine with 3 electrical leads monitoring the activity of heart continuously, and heart functioning is evaluated by attaching multiple leads to the chest region. Children, now let us discuss about the reading an ECG. An ECG consists of 5 peaks identified with the letter P to T that corresponds to a specific electrical conductivity of a heart. This corresponds to a specific electrical activity of the heart as follows. P wave is the first and the foremost wave of low amplitude. It represents the electrical excitation or depolarization of the atria, which leads to contraction of both the atria. QRS wave or complex. The QR and S wave together form the QRS complex. This represents the depolarization of the ventricles, which initiates the ventricular contractions. It marks the spread of impulse from AV node of ventricles through bundle of His and Purkinje fibers. That contraction starts shortly after Q and marks the beginning of the systole. R is the most conspicuous wave out of all, having highest amplitude. The T wave is a broad and smoothly rounded deflection which represents the return of ventricles from excited to normal state. The end of T wave marks the end of systole. It has been observed that by counting the number of QRS complexes that occurs in a given time period, one can easily determine the rate of heartbeat of an individual. However, the deviation in the ECG of any person from the normal shape ECG indicates as possible abnormality or a diseases. Children, now let us discuss the significance of ECG. ECG is proved to be a great clinical significance due to the following reasons. ECG gives accurate information about the normal function of atria and ventricles, and it also indicates the functions of valves. It helps in including any damage to local tissues of the heart in detecting of overgrowth of cardiac heart chambers. Children, now let us discuss about double circulation. As mentioned earlier, the blood pumped by the right ventricle enters the pulmonary artery, whereas the left ventricle pumps the blood into the aorta. The deoxygenated blood pumps into the pulmonary artery is passed on the lungs, from where the oxygenated blood is carried by the pulmonary veins into the left atrium. This pathway constitutes the pulmonary circulation. The oxygenated blood enters the aorta, is carried by a network of arteries, arterioles and capillaries to the tissues, from where the oxygenated blood is collected by a system of venules. Veins in the vena cava and emptied into the left atrium. This is the systematic circulation. The systematic circulation provides nutrients, oxygen and other essential substances to the tissue and takes CO2 and the other harmful substance away for elimination. A unique vascular connection exists between the digestive tract and liver called hepatic portal system. The hepatic portal vein carries blood from intestine to the liver before it is delivered to the systematic circulation. A special coronary system of blood vessels is present in our body exclusively for the circulation of blood to and from the cardiac musculature. Children, now let us discuss about regulation of cardiac activity. The normal activities of the heart are regulated intrinsically, that is, auto-regulated by specialized muscles. Hence, the heart is called myogenic. A special neural center in the medulla oblongata can moderate the cardiac function through autonomic nerve system. Neural signals through the sympathetic nerves can increase the rate of heartbeat through the scent of ventricular contraction and thereby the cardiac output.
On the other hand, parasympathetic neural signals decrease the rate of heartbeat, speed of conduction of action potential, and thereby the cardiac output. Adrenal medullary hormones can also increase the cardiac output. Children, now let us discuss the disorders of circulatory system. High blood pressure, which is also called hypertension. Hypertension is the term of blood pressure that is higher than normal 122 by 80. In this measurement, 120 milliliters of mercury pressure is the systolic or pumping pressure of 80 mm, Hg is the diastolic or resting pressure. If repeat checks of blood pressure of an individual is 140 by 90, 140 or over 90 or higher, it shows hypertension. High blood pressure leads to heart disease and also affects vital organs like brain and kidney. Coronary artery diseases, which is also called CAD. Coronary artery disease, often referred to as atherosclerosis, affects the vessels that supply blood to the heart muscle. It is caused by deposits of calcium, fat, cholesterol, and fibrous tissues, which makes the lumen of arteries narrower. Angina. Angina is also called angina pectoris. A symptom of acute chest pain appears when enough oxygen is reached the heart muscles. Angina can occur in men and women of any age, but it is more common among the middle-aged and elderly. It occurs due to the conditions that affect the blood flow. Another disorder of circulatory system is heart failure. The heart failure means the state of heart when it is not pumping blood effectively enough to meet the needs of the body. It is sometimes called congestive heart failure because congestion of the lungs is one of the main symptoms of this disease. Heart failure is not the same as cardiac arrest or the cardiac attack. Children, now let us look into a brief summary of blood fluids and circulatory system. Vertebrates circulate blood, a fluid connective tissue in their body, to transport essential substance to the cells and to carry waste substance from there. Another fluid, lymph, is also used for the transport of certain substances. Blood comprises of a fluid matrix, plasma, and formed elements. Red blood cells, which is also called RBC, erythrocytes, and white blood cells, which is also called as leukocytes or WBC, platelet cells, thrombocyte, constitute the formed elements. Blood of humans are grouped into A, B, AB, and O systems based on the presence or absence of two surface antigens AB on the RBC. Another blood grouping is also done based on the presence or absence of another antigen called rhesus factor RH on the surface of RBC. The spaces between cells in the tissue contain a fluid derived from the blood called tissue fluid. This fluid called lymph is almost similar to blood except for the protein content and the formed elements. All vertebrates and few invertebrates have a closed circulatory system. Our circulatory system consists of a muscular pumping organ, heart, a network of vessels, and fluid blood. Heart has two atria and two ventricles. Cardiac musculature is auto-excitable. Sinoarterial node SAN generates the maximum number of action potentials per minute, and therefore it sets the pace of the activities of the heart. Hence it is called pacemaker. This action potential causes the atria and then the ventricles to undergo contractions followed by their relaxation. The systole forces the blood to move from the atria to ventricles and to the pulmonary artery and then to aorta. The cardiac cycle is formed by a sequential events in the heart which is cyclically repeated, and it is called the cardiac cycle. A healthy person shows 72 such cycles per minute. About 70 ml of blood is pumped out by each ventricle during a cardiac cycle, and it is called the stroke or beat volume. Volume of blood pumped out by each ventricle of heart per minute is called the cardiac output, and it is equal to the product of stroke volume and heart rate.
Electrical activity of heart can be recorded by the body surface by use electrocardiograph, and the recording is called electrocardiogram ECG, which is of clinical importance. We have a complex double circulation, that is, two circulatory pathways, namely pulmonary and systematic, are present. Pulmonary circulation starts by the pumping of deoxygenated blood by the right ventricles, which is carried to the lungs where it is oxygenated and returns to the left atrium. The systematic circulation starts with the pumping of oxygenated blood by the left ventricle to the aorta, which is carried to all the body tissues, and the oxygenated blood from there is collected by veins, returned to the right atrium. Through the heart is auto-excitable, its function can be moderated by neural and hormonal mechanisms.